ended up being an information centre attending for some tourists who came up. I was trying to pick up.
But did you do the job well?
Oh, yes.
Yes, totally
Housekeeping then. Welcome to this extraordinary grant subcommittee meeting. As you know, if we have to leave, we have exits and we assemble in the playground until the all clear is given. Do we have any apologies? Okay. Councillor Vickery.
Councillor Gibson.
Gibson, and also we don't need to apologise for. Do we have to move to accept those apologies? Lee, seconded Pam. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. All those against, the motion is carried. Do we have any conflicts of interest? Cool. Decision reports to the Chief Executive and staff. That's item 3.1. Would you like to speak to that?
To my report, yep. Okay, so when we met last week to determine the grants, we excluded some grants because we'd already given them council and or community board grants or Maori Standing Committee grants in the first funding round all through the year. And when I went to do the letters for those applications, I found out that actually we shouldn't have excluded those. There was a sentence in the grants policy that had not been presented to the last subcommittee meeting, and effectively that said that if people were still eligible to apply for a council grant if they had actually received Maori Standing Committee or community board grants throughout the current financial year. So that meant I needed to go back and relook at the applicants that we had deemed ineligible due to that clause. So the only one that it affected was the Greytown Junior Football Club, which is why we're here meeting today, because I think we need to do justice to the funding round and reconsider the applications. So we've got, I've sort of presented 3 different options. Now, I guess what hasn't been helpful is that the media straight away put out all of the people that have received grant applications and funding and got comments from them and wrote a nice media article about it, which was really good. But to me, what that means is what we're really precluded, I think, from relitigating all of the applicants in those youth grants. And so I think that the best option, and the option that I am suggesting, is that we only consider the Greytown Junior Football Club's application, and we consider, first of all, whether we would have given them a grant in that first round that we did last week, in the subcommittee meeting we held last week, whether you would have given them some funding, and if so, how much would you have allocated from them? So we did only have a very small pool of funds, as you know, about $7,000, which we fully allocated. Any extra funding that if you did decide to give Greytown Junior Football any funding, it would be unbudgeted. However, we do have a little bit of, we don't have any money available in the grants budget, but we do have some flexibility around unused funds and some of the WEEDS funding, for example, which hasn't been fully utilised this year and is unlikely to be. So there is a little bit of movement there that we can use. We could potentially use another budget from. So I guess that's my thoughts on it, and I just need to open it up for your discussion and what your thoughts are.
Do I need to move to receive?
Yes, please. Should we have done that first? Sorry.
Always have to flexible on moving to receive. I move to receive Katrina's report from the Chief Executive and staff Seconded, thank you very much. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. All those against? Okay. So this is good. I think there's two things we want to decide here. So we didn't actually have a discussion on the relative merits. No. Of the grade application, so I would like to discuss that. And also then I'd like to discuss where we as a committee feel the money should come from, whether it should be unplanned expenditure or whether it should be deducted from next year's grants.
Yep.
Is it
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that, yeah.
So what I'm going to do now is we'll open up looking at the request or from there so if we got, has everyone got the grant application last time? Sorry, I'm just running a bit behind.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So I think they applied for quite a lot, didn't they? $17,000 for goals and sort of
Goal
structural
goal
things
bags,
like that. Yeah.
Can I just look at it all, maybe useful? They say in this report 140 members, but in the skill set training, they've actually got 150 members, and approximately 25% of those are outside. So that goal is to expand it into something.
So my comments haven't changed. The thing that I'm not seeing in some of the applications is the part where they're actually trying to self-fund for any of their projects. It's just not evident, was not evident in that application. So, not actually seeing it. The cruel thing about that is that in the past they would have received grants from who's the sports people?
Sport Wellington, which is now we could
No, who was that other organised? Oh, the Great organised.
Great.
Yeah, so they would have actually received funding from trust funds. No,
Not too much. They get a little bit, but not too much at all.
but yeah.
I can jump in here actually.
Yeah.
They have actually applied for other funding. They went through to Sport Wellington to apply for funding to do something similar around also attracting more women to the sport. And just based on the increase that they have had in women, I don't know the outcome of that particular application.
Yeah, because
But
Gary came and spoke to this application, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So we did hear from Gary.
Yeah. But that was just my small niggle, is that I don't see any evidence of them doing any self-funding other than 5 grants.
Yeah. Well, I think what we're seeing in their financials is that they are contributing 14,000 for the organisation, and even with our 17,000 applied for, they're still looking at 8,000 for fundraising, which they do.
Yeah.
What I think, well, we don't have 17,000. So but we've also got to look at the balance of this application and its community value, and also its value for the whole South Wairau possibly as well. I mean, I think that we need to take that into consideration on the size. But I mean, I'm a bit betwixt and between on this one personally, because we do give a lot of money to the sports area, and this does seem an extraordinarily large amount of money to be invested. What are your thoughts on this? Rebecca, what are your thoughts on?
Thanks for asking, Alex. I think it's an extraordinary amount of money to apply for actually, and I don't think that we're in a position to be able to look at a full grant. But the way I had looked at it was, if we could maybe afford to look at one set of goals for them and the carrying or the carry bag that they seem to need for them, because that set of goals, Gary said when he presented to us, or the portable goals would be taken around all of the South Wairarapa district, and that would meet some of the outcomes we need for actually a district-wide, I was going to say goal, no pun intended, that might be something look at in that sense, and it's by no means the full cost of what they were looking at in their application.
Look, I think that might be a very nice, that would be just put around the $2,000 mark for a set of a goal, a folding goal, portable post and a carry bag. They're looking for 30 of them, which is quite a large amount, but we can, I just think when you look at the quantum of the money we had, that's actually probably close to 30% of what we actually had available within that youth space.
I had originally suggested a maximum of 5,000.
Maximum of what?
5,000.
I'd be happy with
Two.
I think it's 2,000 plus GST.
it's 60, yeah, 1,600,
Full kit.
1,600 plus 55, so.
One goal is only half the size we use, so it's.
The amount that I
Yeah.
mentally thought was 2,000, and I agree with Rebecca that that would allow them to get the carry bags and some portable goals. And the point that Gary made in his presentation was, if they start to have all this gear, they can expand it more into South Wairua. And so currently, as I said, they've got 25% is outside Greytown, so it's not Greytown centric. But thinking about your comment about the wider district, you know, we gave, I know it's not youth, but we did give money to the Bowling Club, and that's just nothing.
Yeah.
So,
The club is based in the township. The membership, it doesn't matter where a membership comes from.
And I don't want to silo that. However, to be fair, that's the first time, probably the only time we've seen a Bowling Club application.
I agree.
Whereas this is
For that reason,
this
right.
club is, and Greytown Sports and Leisure Societies are perennial requester of funds.
I think there's one other point that's worth noting, just to your comment, Brenda, is that they've got it here, they've got 32 coaches that they're all voluntary. So certainly in the museum sector, you count volunteer hours where it's not a cost, but it's counted as a part of the funding. So that's just an additional point.
Yeah, I think you're going to suggest as well. I mean, I know it's creating one set of goals is the thing that perhaps we actually, under item 3, the cost for all of the carry bags is $1,650 plus GST, which is close to $2,000. Why don't we just actually do the whole line item of 3, which is $1,650 plus, sorry, $1,650 including GST, and we say we will fund all the carry bags for this.
I would prefer to
Well, I see.
do 2 portables.
Alex, I think your suggestion with re the carry bags has merit, except that if they don't get all the goalposts and things like that, you're going to have bags sitting around empty.
Yeah.
So I've given this quite a lot of thought and I've done quite a lot of maths on it. So 2 posts, 2 portable posts, because you'll need 2 portable posts for the goal. And a goal and a bag is with GST included because they're not non-profit. Then it's 2,369 for that. If you double it, it's 4,738, depending on how much we want to actually spend. But my thought was that we buy 1 set that's portable of everything at the 2,369, and that in writing to them to say what the decision is, that we ask them to keep track in their response to, you know, they have to do an update after they've got the money as to how it all went and things like that, that they say how many people they've attracted from Martinborough, from Featherston and from Greytown and the wider district, because ones from Carterton and Masterton are probably going to come and play as well. So if they do that as the wider Wairarapa, then we're going to, if they apply again, then we're actually going to have some information as to how they've attracted people and
what that uptake is going to be.
As well as also possibly whether they've loaned this equipment to other clubs.
Yeah.
He said that. didn't he?
Yeah, but we'd love to have the information to make more value judgments.
Yeah.
Mm.
So look, I'm fine with that. Is anyone else fine with that? That we
I
fund
think it's fantastic.
one full set of goals, including GST, to the value of $2,369.
69.
So we,
Thank you, Pam.
Didn't include.
should we cut to the chase?
Including GST.
I've made you a coffee.
I don't think I've missed out on coffee.
Yeah.
I've lost the bet.
I'm going to propose that. Would someone like to second it? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Put it as well.
So this is to come out of next year's.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
the
next-
next.
that's the next thing. All those against the motion.
I'm just going to quickly close that door to people.
It is
It's
public,
public.
it's a public meeting.
Yeah, come on in. So the question then is what your thoughts are with regards to calling it unplanned expenditure, or whether we deduct it from next year. Unbudgeted expenditure, or we deduct it. Pam's already got a decision, she's making.
No, I haven't, but I missed part of what Katrina was saying. If we do it as unplanned budget, where did you say that?
So there is, so under community, the grants sit under community development, which also encompasses economic development. And there's a budget there that we set aside for economic development for weeks. And since Marie Claire has departed, that money effectively hasn't been spent and is unlikely to be spent by the end of this financial year. So we have got some surplus funds available that we could use to offset this overspend.
Could I ask how much is in there?
How much?
How
So
much?
the original budget for weeks was about $90,000. Yeah, and the majority of that has not been utilised.
Well, as it's for the wider district, then I would propose that we take the money out of there. Yeah.
Any other opinions on this? I mean, my opinion is that we have put aside money for grants, and that's what we should use that money for. And then if we're going to overspend, that comes, the council makes a decision on how much we spend per year on community level grants. And I think we should stick to that as a matter of financial prudence. And so it gets deducted from next year. But then in the future annual plans, if we do that, or we look at how that increase might be required to cope with demand.
I think it should come from grants.
I think it should come from grants.
Otherwise we're kidding ourselves.
Yeah.
So my only thought on that is this is a one-off situation. We would have stuck to the budget if we had considered this. So it's a bit of an extraordinary kind of
It is, I think.
item. But
Yeah,
you
I would
recognise-
personally, I prefer that we just deduct it and then we go through the normal grants procedure again.
I'm nervous that people will then say, well, what other little kitties are sitting out there we haven't touched?
What it does,
Right,
it's
it's
absorbed
right.
back into, well, much like community water, it's going to get absorbed back. Yeah. So we shouldn't use it as an excuse to spend the money, consider that it's still taxpayer.
But just in terms of satisfying the public scrutiny that we do report to FAR and formally put on in the minutes any unplanned expenditure. And so it would be on the public record.
Yeah.
And the next FAR record that's been done. So it's making it very clear that it's a one-off situation and where it's come from. So
Correct, and also we are expecting to have a higher surplus this year than budgeted. So at the moment it's looking very much like we're going to come in on budget in terms of operating expenditure and probably a little bit under budget. So yeah.
So I think a show of hands possibly from councillors who would like to call it an unplanned expenditure. So it's additional to any grant funding. Two, and who
And
would
could
like
I
to,
state my reasons, please? I think because if we take it out of the grant money as an advance on next year's grant money, we're going to disadvantage people who may apply for that fund next year, because we're not proposing to increase the fund for next year. And so I think that because this should have been considered at the time that this is an error on our part, and therefore we need to find money to because we want to support them, we need to find money from elsewhere rather than disadvantage people who are going to apply for next year's grant, unless we can increase the amount for youth grants for next year.
Is there a CPI or an adjustment to grants every year?
No.
No, so it is the same as.
It is the same as last year.
75,000.
Yeah.
Can I just say, is far going to be relaxed about okayness?
Sorry?
So just, so sit squarely under the community, that money we put up there. And it's not going to.
It's not the community boards.
Is far going to be relaxed?
Community and economic growth.
Community.
It's actually coming out of economic development.
We've
But it would affect.
done that. Yeah, no, that's next stage.
So my thinking on it was that I'm a bit, I hear exactly what you're saying, that it was our error, but I really would prefer it stand specifically to grants, and that's why I was looking at grant money.
It would be coded to grants, so grants would be over budget, right? By whatever you award this $2,300. So that would show that we're over budget for grants. However, what I'm saying is we've got enough flexibility within other bits of the budget to be able to absorb it in the overall effect in the current year. If that's what you're choosing.
And that's recorded.
And it will be recorded in the bargain.
So I'll ask again, which of the, before we put our resolution through, just to get a raise of hands again. So who is comfortable with it coming out of unclaimed expenditure for this year through the Community and Economic Development Fund? And who would say?
Yeah.
4?
Yeah.
And Rebecca?
5? Yeah. So that is the resolution. So we propose to fund this additional expenditure through unclaimed expenditure as per the CFO's advice.
And refer to far.
It will be, but that's a process that we can do anyway. Do we have a vote for that? Thank you very much, Pam. Seconded, thank you, Lee. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against. The motion is carried. Democracy in action, people. As that was the only matter for us to be considering today, I declare them at least closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go and have a coffee.
Thanks, everybody. See you.